Mga class. So for today's lesson, we're going to talk about proving two triangles are congruent. So before we proceed to our session proper, so don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel. Okay, so here we come. Here is our self-learning module for week 6. Okay, so entitled Proving Two Triangles Are Congruent. So our expectations: illustrate side, angle, and side postulates. Prove two triangles are congruent using angle side angle, and side postulates, and apply congruency in real life situations. So, last session, we tackled about those three triangle congruents. And then here we come to prove that two triangles are congruent using SAS and ASA postulates. The idea of congruence is when two geometric figures are exactly the same size and same shape. So once again, it should be same size and same shape. Okay? Okay. How will you prove if two triangles are congruent? Paano nga ba natin masasabi na ang two triangles are congruent? So we can say that two triangles are congruent if their 6 corresponding parts are equal. Ano nga ba yung 6 corresponding parts? Ito yung sides and angles. However, we can also say that two triangles are congruent without showing all corresponding parts and is by using some postulates. Kagaya ng side postulate, if two sides and the included angle of one triangle are congruent to their corresponding parts of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Yun yung tinatawag natin SAS. So SAS, so ito yung corresponding parts natin. We have segment OR is congruent to segment AN. Ito yung AN, ito yung OR. So yun ang equal. So makikita nyo, meron tayong markings dito. Okay? And then another is we have angle A or angle O is congruent to angle A. So, included angle yon kasi ginigit na siya ng dalawang side, di ba? So, ito yung angle O, then angle A. And then, segment BO, ito yung segment BO natin, is congruent to YA. Then, triangle ORB is congruent to triangle NYA. And that is by side postulate. So once again, included angle is the angle formed by two given sides. In the diagram, angle O is the included angle of sides OR and OB, while angle A is the included angle of sides YA and NA. So, ito po yung YA, ito yung NA. So, ginigit na siya ng dalawang side. And take note, in order to use the side postulate, we must be able to identify appropriate sides and angle. So, take note of that. Okay? And then, how about angle-side-angle postulate. So sinasabi, if two angles and included side of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding parts of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Take note of that, ha? So, we have angle O is congruent to angle N, ito yung O, ito yung N, and angle R is congruent to angle Y. So, nakikita nyo yung markings. So, yun yung ibig sabihin yung corresponding parts. And then, meron tayong OR. Ito yung OR, segment OR, or side OR. Then, NY. Okay? So, ginigit na siya ng dalawang angle. So, therefore, that is included side. Kaya nga siya ay angle, side, angle. Okay? So, therefore, triangle ORB is congruent to triangle NYA. And that is by the virtue of angle, side, angle postulate. So, the included side is the side formed by two given angles. So, in the diagram, RO is the included sides of angle O and angle R. And then, NY is the included side of angles Y and N. So, ginigit na siya ng dalawang angle na yon. Okay? So, let us have an exercises. So, given the following figures, can SAS and ASA postulate be used to show that the triangles are congruent? So, explain your answer. So, for number 1, so we have triangle MRA and triangle KRA. And that is by means of side angle side postulate. Ito yung kanyang corresponding parts. So they are congruent. And then since that is perpendicular, so both angles are measures 90 degrees. And by using the reflexive property that AR is equal to AR. So they are congruent. Okay, so that is by the virtue of side angle side postulate. And then another one, since AY is not included side, even though in AY hindi siya included side, between M and Y, we cannot conclude that the two triangles are congruent. So ito lang yung atin pwedeng magamit na siya ay angle side angle. Pero, hindi naman sinabi na equal itong side na to. Okay? So, we cannot say that these two triangles are congruent. Okay? Another one. So, let us find out how we can apply the congruence postulates to prove that two triangles are congruent. So, study the examples below. So, given the segment MA, ito yung MA, then TA, and then MAH, so ito yung ating angle na equal, and TAH. So, prove that MAH is congruent to triangle TAH. So, sasabihin lang natin na para sila ay maging so ito yung side natin, then the included angle. So, ito lang yung ating hahanapan ng reason kung bakit sila equal. So, AH is equal or congruent to AH, and that is a reflexive property of equality. So, magagamit na natin ngayon ng side angle side postulate. Okay? Example number 2. So, let's try to prove that we have a given R is the midpoint of MY. Ito yung midpoint. Pag sinabi nating midpoint, di ba? So, ang ating segment ay nahati into two equal parts. So, another given is EMR or angle EMR is congruent to triangle say YR. Okay? So, yun yung equal ito. Okay? So, equal daw sila. Now, so kung ito ay midpoint, so therefore, MR should be equal to YR. And that is by the definition of midpoint. Okay? So, wala na tayong problema doon sa mga given. Ilalagay nyo lang yon. And then, so, base sa ating illustration, meron tayong nakita dito na ito yung equal, ito yung equal. So, therefore, ito naman ang ating palalabasin na equal. So, paano natin masasabi na sila ay equal? That is by means of vertical angle theorem. Since included side ito, that is included side, so we have angle, side, angle, postulate. Okay? So, yun po yung ating given. Okay? So, angle, side, angle, postulate. How about if we are going to use the side postulate? So, if the three sides of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding parts of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. For example, we have OR is congruent to NY. Ito yung OR natin, then ito yung NY. Then we have RB is congruent to YA. And OB is congruent to NA. So therefore, triangle ORB is congruent to triangle NYA. And that is by the virtue of side postulate. Okay? So let us have the example. So given AR and DR which are congruent. Ito yon. So that is the given. And then AC and DC are congruent. So let us prove that the triangle ACR is congruent to triangle DCR. So, equal yung dalawang side. So, ito na lang yung side ng triangle ang mapapalabas natin dapat na equal. And they are equal. CR is congruent to CR. And that is by means of reflexive property. And therefore, the two triangles are congruent by the virtue of side postulate. Okay? So, for our activity, so ito po yung ating sasagutan. You are going to write, yes, if the two triangles are congruent, and no, if it is not congruent. So, state the postulate to justify your answer. So, for example, number 1, ano kayang postulate ito? At sila ba ay equal? Yes or no. So, for activity number 1, we have 4 items. And for activity number 2, keep practicing. So, here is the direction. You are going to complete the proof. So, yung EJ is congruent to IJ. So, yon. And that is given. So, lagi tayo tatama dyan sa unang part na yan. Given. How about the definition of angle bisector? Paano natin masasabi yung definition of bisector? Anong angle? So, ibig sabihin, angle dapat ang magiging sagot dito sa statement na to, no? Kasi angle, definition of angle bisector yung ating reason. Okay? And then for number 3, it's either side or angle. Ano? Pwedeng side or angle. Pero, hanapin natin kung ano ba yung mga na-prove natin. So, meron na tayo dito, meron na tayo dito. Then, itong side na to, pwede natin sabihin na yan. Kasi reflexive property yun. Ano? Okay? So, yan. Okay? So, ano kayang reason dito? It's either ASA, SAS, or SSS postulates. Okay? Base dun sa ating mga naging statement and the reasons. Okay? So, laging may flow yan. Ano? It should be continuous yung paggagawa natin ng proving. Okay? Then, for activity number 3, test yourself. This time, kayo na maglalagay ng statement at pati ng reason. So, napakadali lang yan mga anak. So, ito yung pwede nating dalawang equal. Okay, corresponding parts are equal. And then, ito naman, diba? Reflexive property. So, yun. Then, to wrap up, so, side, angle, side, ASA, and SSS. Pag sinabing side, angle, side postulate, so included yung angle. Then kapag sinabing angle, side, angle, included yung side. And then pag sinabing SSS, lahat ng sides ay equal. Okay. So sinasabi nga natin, love is made up of 3 unconditional properties in equal measure. Ito yung acceptance, understanding, and appreciation. So, remove one of the 3 and the triangle falls apart. Okay? So, which, by the way, is something highly inadvisable. Think about it, and do you really want to live in a world of only 2 dimensions? Okay, so we are going to answer this in our wakelet. Okay? So, sa wakelet po natin siya sasagutan. Okay? So, thank you. At sana nakatulong itong aking mumunting video sa ating pagsasagot ng module ng week 6 ng quarter 3. Okay? Thank you. So don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube